Do you believe in global warming?
I do not believe the world is warming. The atmosphere has been changing for thousands of years. When you look back at the 1970s, at one point, scientists were actually calling it global cooling. But you look back, and the biggest tornadoes were in the 1890s, and the biggest hurricanes were in the 1860s and 1870s. It's weather. You're going to have bad weather. So often I watch the evening newscasts, and every time there is a rainstorm someplace, they wonder why they don't do well. They say, oh, it's raining here and it's raining there. I call it weather. Maybe there's a little bit of change, but I don't happen to believe it is man-made. Now, because of this theory of global warming, there's been a big push to develop alternate forms of energy, so-called green energy, from renewable sources. That's a big mistake. To begin with, the whole push for renewable energy is being driven by the wrong motivation. The mistaken belief is that global climate change is being caused by carbon emissions. I don't buy that at all. Like I said, the atmosphere has been changing for thousands of years. Now, the most popular source of green energy is solar panels. They work, but they don't make economic sense. They don't provide enough energy savings to cover cost of installing them. They are the most highly subsidized form of green energy in America. Some estimates claim that it takes as long as several decades after installing solar panels to get your money back. That's not exactly what I call a sound investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crump. Mrs. Clinton, your opinion on global warming?
Well, I believe that.
I believe.
The microphone is broken. Fix it.
I believe the climate is changing. This threatens us all. The cause of this is pollution. The cause of pollution is us, the people. We don't take care of the world, and we litter, and we don't recycle, which is a big problem. In some states, like Florida, they don't collect deposit money on their bottles. I would make a law where if you buy any drink or bottle from any place, you have to collect a deposit on them. I would also have programs about having that. We could also use solar power or wind power because this is the cleanest and most reliable and renewable energy instead of oil because it's better for the environment. In Louisiana, a tribe is fighting for their home because the water is getting too hot, which is not a good thing. If you were to change, I would give you a rebate of 20% of what you pay. 20% because the government needs their money. I would divide it by 4, and you would get 5% every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. And for your next question, Mr. Donald Trump, who should make the initial key decisions in healthcare?
Well, healthcare right now, especially for our veterans, is a disgrace. The first thing I would do to fix that, I would appoint a VA secretary whose sole purpose would be to serve veterans under a Trump administration. The needs for DC bureaucrats will no longer be placed above those of our veterans. Number 2, I would use the powers of the presidency to remove and discipline the federal employees and managers who have violated the public's trust and failed to carry out the duties on behalf of our veterans. I would also ask that Congress pass legislation that empowers the Secretary of the VA to discipline or terminate any employee who has jeopardized the health, safety, or well-being of a veteran. Next, I would create a commission to investigate all fraud, all cover-ups, and all wrongdoings that has to take place in the VA and present these findings to Congress to spur legislative reform. Next, I would protect and promote honest employees at the VA who highlight wrongdoing and guarantee their jobs will be protected. I would create a private White House hotline, which will be active 24 hours a day, answered by a real person. It will be devoted to answering veterans' complaints of wrongdoing and at the VA, and ensure no complaints fall through the cracks. Thank you.
Mrs. Clinton, who do you believe should make the initial key decisions in healthcare?
The person I think should make the initial key decision in healthcare is Congress. I think they should because they are the ones who pass the bills in our country. Okay. My plan will crack down on drunk companies charging excessive prices, slow down the growth of out-of-pocket costs, and provide a new credit to those facing high health expenses. I will work to ensure that all women have access to preventative care, affordable birth control, and safe and legal abortions. I'll do more to bring down healthcare costs for families. We also need to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Companies are charging way too much, which makes the doctors charge more, which is outrageous. But health insurance pays for it. My husband, Bill Clinton, when he was in office, I made an Affordable Care Act, and Barack Obama continued it with Obamacare. I think we should continue it. Parents can keep their kids on health insurance until they're 21, which is really good and helpful for the kids. Thank you.
Mr. Trump, how would you handle gun control?
If I am elected President of the United States, I will defend the Second Amendment of our Constitution. The right for the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon, period. To ensure that our right to bear arms is protected, I will nominate United States Supreme Court justices that will abide by the rule of the law and the Constitution of the United States. That includes upholding the Second Amendment. I will reinforce the laws on the books. We need to get serious about prosecuting our violent criminals. I would also expand and bring back programs like Project Exile and get gang members and drug dealers off the street. When we do, crime will go down and our cities and communities will be better places to live.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. And how about you, Mrs. Clinton? How would you handle gun control?
Well, I think gun control in our country should be handled very carefully. More than 3,000 Americans are killed by guns a year, and that's not a good number. That was last year's number, and it's steadily increasing this year. Half of those people are between the ages of 18 and 25, which is not good because those are our young kids today. Gun control laws are racist. Current gun control laws are frequently aimed at inner cities, poor Black communities who are perceived as dangerous and harmful. There are laws that are already in place where you have to buy a gun and you have to register it, but I don't think that's enough. Too many people are dying, and that's not right. We should not have to worry about letting our children outside and going for walks or anything and being shot. We should have programs or groups to ensure the safety of guns in our country. 22% of Americans own more than one gun, which is very high. Our Second Amendment is a right to bear arms, but I don't feel as though we should always be bearing arms. Yes, we should have it for self-defense, but most of the guns and most of the gun shootings are not used in self-defense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Mr. Trump, which would you spend more on, education or the military, and why would you do so?
I'm going to tell you right now, we should be focusing more on military spending. Under Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, defense spending is on track to fall to its lowest level as a share of the economy since the end of World War II. We currently have the smallest army since 1940, The Navy is among the smallest it's been since 1950. The Navy is among the smallest it's been since the Air Force was the smallest it's been from 1947. In the current year, we're spending up to $548 billion, a cut of 10% in real inflation-adjusted dollars. This reduction was done through what is known as a sequester, automatic defense budget cuts. Under the budget agreement, defense took half of the cuts, even though it makes up only 1/6 of the budget. As soon as I take office, I will ask Congress to fully eliminate the defense sequester, and I will submit a new budget to rebuild our military. This will increase certainly in the defense community as to funding and will allow military leaders for our future defense needs. As part of removing the defense sequester, I will ask Congress to fully offset the cost of increased military spending. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Mrs. Clinton, which do you believe you would spend more money on, education or the military?
Well, like Donald Trump, I would spend more money on the military. I would because they give us our freedom, plus they train you in many different areas such as auto tech, nursing, and etc. So you could technically go to school and learn and do your job. I think the military is more important because people are risking their lives so we have our freedom. That is just such a courageous and brave thing to do. You can join the military part-time reserves and get money while you go to college. You can also join the military full-time and take online college courses, which they let you attend. There are many colleges that cater to the military. When it comes to the military pays in a Montgomery GI Bill. The Montgomery GI Bill is designed to help you pay for college education when you're in the military. Depending on how long you are enlisted in the military and the job you choose, you can get over $5,000 to help pay for college. All you have to do is give $100 a month during your training for the first year of service. But public education remains the foundation of our democracy, and we are going to fight for it, just not as much. Families are drowning in debt from college, and when you're in the military, you don't have to worry as much about money as you do any other time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Mr. Trump, do you believe that by the time this audience is ready to attend college, the tuition will increase? Will they be able to go to college?
Everybody here is going to be able to go to college. There's absolutely no thing as a free education. Because you know that ultimately, somebody else is going to be paying for that education. And so, as a politician, I'd love to see free education. I'd love it. But again, if somebody gets free education, all of the people paying their rates are going to go up. You take a look at how college costs are rising, and there's no reason. They are letting them go up. And the problem is that the students are getting crushed because, again, the government keeps giving them more and more money, and the students give them to the college. It's not fair. We are going to really look into that because we have to keep it down. Some of the colleges do a good job. They do a tremendous job. Many of them, I don't think, even care what the costs are because they get so much money. We are going to do something for the students. We're going to have something with extensions and lower interest rates and a lot of good things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. What about you, Mrs. Clinton? Will they be able to go to college?
Yes, they will be able to go to college by the time this audience is ready to attend. Every year, the cost of tuition goes up 3.5% every year. For example, in 2026, college tuition for students will be at least $44,000. A four-year degree will be at least $205,000 for one person. But on the same note, college isn't for everybody. Some careers don't need college. But then again, some are ready for college and want to go to college. College is an amazing place to learn more about what you love to do in your career. Plus, everyone says college is probably the best time of your life. Also, colleges present amazing opportunities for your field, such as nursing, You get to do your residency somewhere else. Instead of doing it in Malone, you could do it in Boston and have more of a feel of what you're getting yourself into. Next is the point where colleges let you get a higher primary benefits of your earning of your college degree. It also provides more benefits for your health care, such as retirement investments, travel, and other peaks. Plus, families are drowning in debt because of everlasting college expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Mr. Trump, what will you do to help bring jobs back to America and to help fix the economy?
Our jobs are fleeing this country. They're going to Mexico and China. For example, most of you know the company Nabisco. They make your sweet, little, delicious Oreo cookies. Nabisco has moved over 600 union jobs to Mexico because they wanted to reduce the cost of labor and ingredients. Now, here is your steps, your personal all, very own Donald Trump will take to restore jobs in America. I will first withdraw the United States from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I will then appoint the toughest and the smartest negotiators to fight on behalf of American workers. I will then direct the Secretary of Commerce to identify every violation of trade agreement a foreign country is currently using to harm our workers. Then direct all appropriate agencies to use every tool under the America and international law to end those abuses. I will then tell NAFTA partners I intend to immediately renegotiate the terms of that agreement to get a better deal for our workers. And if they do not agree to the renegotiation, then I will submit a notice under the Article of 2205 of the NAFTA agreement that America intends to withdraw from the deal. I will then instruct Treasury Secretary to label China as a currency manipulator and country that devalues their currency in order to take advantage of the United States will be met with shame. Next, I will instruct U.S. Trade Representatives to bring trade cases against China, both in this country and at the WTO. China's unfair subsidy behavior is prohibited by the terms of its entrance to the WTO, and I intend to enforce those rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Mrs. Clinton, how will you fix the economy?
Well, a little background is that 4.9% of Americans are unemployed today. Unemployment rates out of the 93.8 million Americans aged 16 and up who are deemed not in the workforce, 9.7 million of them are between ages 16 to 19. Another 5.7 million are between 20 to 24. And 37.8 million are ages 65 and over. Every month we have at least 219,000 jobs available. I would put factories back in America. We need them because that's where most of our jobs came from back in the day, and the rate of unemployment was lower than it is today. The factories that you would work in today, you would make $13.74 per hour, which is more than minimum wage because minimum wage is between $7.25 to $9.50 an hour. Over a year, you'd make $28,058. I think factories are good because we manufacture our own supplies and we don't have to rely on other countries or we don't have to pay for importing goods. We've also got to stand up for our unions and working people who have been at core of our working class. We should add more companies so we can add more jobs for the people who are unemployed so they can do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. And now about a very popular topic. Mr. Trump, how would you address the problem of illegal immigrants?
I'm going to tell you right now. A nation without borders is not a nation. There must be a wall on the southern border, and Mexico must pay for that wall. And until they do, the United States will, among other things, impound all remittance payments derived from illegal wages, increase fees on all temporary visas issued to Mexican CEOs and diplomats, increase fees on all border crossing cards, of which we issued about 1 million to Mexican nationals each year. I will increase fees on all NAFTA workers' visas from Mexico and increase fees at all ports of entry into the United States from Mexico. We will not be taken advantage of anymore. Our message to the world will be this: you cannot obtain legal status or become a citizen of the United States by illegally entering our country. You can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. And what about you, Mrs. Clinton? How will you address this problem?
Well, our population of immigrants is 13.3%, which is 42.4 million immigrants out of 318.9 million people in America. Of that 11 million of them are illegal. I feel as though they should earn their way to citizenship. They should be able to pass a background check like anybody else. They should also pay taxes because they don't live here and they're coming over here, so they should pay taxes. They should also learn English, just because they have to. They also boost our economy. Every time we get a legal status, it's $832 billion to the economy in a 10-year period. Plus, we're all technically family, and they strengthen our economy and government, and let's face it, they're people too. They deserve a right and a chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Now, in summary, please tell me, Mr. Trump, why should these people vote for you?
Okay. Whether you know it or not, you are the next people of America. And I encourage you to vote for me. Not because I'm Donald Trump, but I'm fighting to put you back to work. I'm fighting for stronger borders. And I'm also fighting for that awesome little delicious Oreo cookie. So that is why you should vote for me today, November 8th, election day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Mrs. Clinton, why do you believe the people should vote for you?
I feel as though you guys should vote for me because my husband did this job and I was a first lady, so I know what it takes to be in charge of this country. Plus, I'm fighting for your rights. And let's face it, I'm better than him. Thank you.
She made that. And she was right. Her husband wasn't honest. Did he do a good job?